Hello everyone, Danny here today to talk to you about the audiobook, The Ritualist, Dakota Krout's first book in her series, The Completionist Chronicles. This book is narrated, and I'm going to try to pronounce the name correctly. I listened to it first. Vikas Adam. I apologize, Mr. Adam, if I mispronounced your first name there. This is the story of Joe. Joe is a medic in the U.S. Army in Afghanistan. And he has a traumatic accident happen that leaves him as a paraplegic. And that's really where the story begins. This is a lit RPG story, so that kind of gives you a hint as to the direction it's going to go from here. And, you know, some people are probably wondering that there's been a lot of lit RPG on this channel lately. There's a reason for that. It's a new genre that I've recently discovered. It's a genre that I have been thoroughly enjoying. I have, quite honestly, yet to find a book in this genre that has disappointed me. And now you're wondering, is this the book that finally disappointed him? Is this the book that was like, oh, not all of the lit RPG books are wonderful? Or was this just another wonderful book? I'll let you know. But first, I have a favor to ask. If, like me, you love audiobooks, please subscribe to my channel. Come join me in my audiobook journey. Now, did this book continue my love for lit RPG, or was this book my first disappointment? This book definitely continued my love of lit RPG. So, Joe becomes a paraplegic, as I said earlier, and is offered an opportunity to enter this game. And he has really no experience with gaming. He does do some research ahead of time. So typically with lit RPG that I've discovered so far, if the main character has no experience with gaming, they don't bother to do any research before they go in. They just go in blind. He doesn't go in blind. He does research. So he has knowledge going into the game, but it's only the kind of knowledge that you would get reading. So he still makes mistakes. He still has things that he doesn't know how do you join a group? How do you find a quest? How do you do that stuff? He knows a lot of the rules and a lot of the regulations, and he understands the math behind everything. But he goes in. He's tested in the very beginning, and he tests so high that he's contacted by a god in this world. And this is one of the things that it was a twist that I found most interesting and really liked the way the author handled it. So in the real world, Joe's a very strong Catholic. He's a very strong Catholic in the real world, to the point of where he won't swear. He is a firm believer in his faith. And then a god in the game world, which has become his reality. This book does explain to you what happens to his body. Typically with lit RPGs, you just don't know what happens to his body. You do know what happened to his body in this book. I'm not going to spoil it, but you know what happens. And so you know he's actually in the game. This is his new reality. His conscience has been downloaded into this game. And now he's got a god basically almost saying, will you be my paladin? But it's not really a paladin kind of a situation. But, you know, will you be my special disciple here? And I'll give you all these benefits. And he goes with it. In his conversation with the god, he is smart enough to ask, what are the downfalls? And he's told what the downfalls of this new position he would be offered are. And they are pretty significant. He's basically got the body and the physique of like a sickly 10-year-old kind of a thing, which adds a really nice. So how do you go from that to being a valuable member of anything at all? How do you progress from that when basically a rabbit can kill you and you can't kill the rabbit back because you're just too sickly and weak kind of a thing? He goes out, he ends up joining a group. And he has some conversations. This is what I say, this is one of the things I like. He has some conversations with his God. And in one of those conversations, he's honest with the God he has in this world and lets that God know, hey, I'm having a real problem here. because I believe in one God and one God only, but yet in this game world you're a God, and I understand this is just the game. You're not really, but how am I supposed to approach this? I can't really worship you and all that kinds of stuff because I know you're not a real God, and the God in this world understands that he's part of a game, and they work it out to where he's able to actually handle that. And I really like the way that was handled. You get a lot of action. He does not start off, as I said, because he's so physically weak, he does not start off the greatest. He's not one of these guys that, like, from the beginning of the book is pretty much dominating and taking over everything. He does do some things right, but the things that he does right are based on his character, who he is. He has a very strong character that causes him to handle, and because he's in the game, he's not wearing a VR headset like most of the people playing the game are. He's actually living in the game. This is his reality. So when he's faced with those moral dilemmas, he doesn't look at it from a gaming standpoint. He doesn't look at it from a standpoint of, actually he does once. One time. He looks at it from a gaming standpoint. Hey, who wants to take one for the team? And you'll have to listen to the book to see what I'm talking about. And basically gets reprimanded and realizes, no, I need to continue to treat this like my new reality. So when he's faced with those moral dilemmas, do I heal these people that need healing, even though there's no benefit to me whatsoever? Or do I go with the gameplay? He goes with the proper moral decision, which might not be the proper gaming decision, but then oftentimes turns out to be the proper gaming decision and really, really benefits and helps him out in the long run. He becomes part of a team who goes out and battles rabbits, foxes, wolves, and eventually werewolves. And one of the disappointing parts of the book for me was when the team got broken up. What are you doing? I'm enjoying this team that you've got him on. I'm enjoying the interaction. He just finished doing something wonderful for one of his players that has completely revolutionized the team and revolutionized that guy's. And it's just, and now you're breaking the team up. And then he goes loner. So he enters the game, he joins a team, he becomes a valuable part of the team, he becomes a valuable part of the guild. The guild's wanting to make him an officer. He doesn't want to be an officer because he doesn't want to be tied down. And then he leaves the team, but he doesn't leave the guild. But he goes out on his own. And once he goes out on his own, that's when the true story behind the story kind of comes to the front. That's when he confronts the real evil in the land. And he ends up in a situation to where even as you're listening and he's going into the situation, you know that he's got to have a plan. He's a planner. He's not physically. So I've got a friend of mine, Ronnie, who's teaching me jiu-jitsu. And I just started with him, and we were, we grappled last night, and he was trying to tell me, hey, you need to stop. You're always trying to muscle. You're always trying to fight. You're always, going too hard. Right now would be a great time for you to just hold still, catch your breath, rest, and think about what you're doing. You're not going to get out of the spot I've got you in, muscling out of it. You got to stop and you got to think. And because I'm not a physically weak person, that can tend to be my go-to in a situation like that. Well, he's a very physically weak person. He can't rely on his body at all. So he's always thinking. He's always planning. He's always trying to be 2-3 steps ahead. So going into this final situation, dude's got a plan. His name's Joe. By the way, that's his name in real life. He keeps the name in the game, Joe. Joe's got a plan. Joe's not going into this blind. He's not going into this defenseless, but for the life of me, I have no clue what it can be. And it does give you doubts. You do start to wonder, am I wrong? Is Joe actually going to become a slave like everyone else in this group is, and then in future books have to overcome, or is he going to overcome now in this book? And I'm not going to tell you whether he does or not. I'm not going to spoil it for you. You got to listen to the book if you want to know. The entire book just grabs you from the beginning. There's a weird bit in the beginning that I've been told ties the book with her other series, which is about dungeons. I can't think of the name of it. I'm going to be listening to that one as well, because I'm told they do kind of tie in together. And that weird bit in the beginning is the link between the two. So we'll find out when I go back and listen to Dungeon Born, I think is the name of the first book in that series, but don't quote me on that one. And the narrator does a great job. He's a really good narrator, easy to listen to. Now, he's a narrator who puts the emotion of the situation into his voice. So this is a book that, like with me, if you're half deaf by now, you've got it at a volume where I can hear it. And then a battle starts. Someone shouts a warning at someone else. Someone screams in pain. The narrator does it at the appropriate volume, and so all of a sudden it gets really loud, and that can startle people around you. So you want to be careful of the situations that you're listening to the book in, because you might end up quite startling people around you. Or if like my wife, you have very sensitive hearing, those passages, if you've got headphones on, sound dampening headphones, might actually hurt your hearing. As far as adult material goes, he doesn't swear. He's Catholic. He doesn't swear. If any other character said any swear words, I don't remember it at all. There's no sexual situations. There's one part where there's kind of an innuendo, but it's real mild, and I don't even know if I'd call it that. But the battles, while they are extremely well done and graphic enough that you can picture them in your head, they're not the bloody kind of graphic. So nothing that I would be worried about listening to around children at all. Like I said, the book grabs you from the beginning. It keeps you all the way through to the end. It's got humor. It's got drama. It's got action. It's got thrills. It's one of my favorite books in this genre. Quite honestly, it is shot straight to the top there. So, if you like this video, please hit the like button. Abrupt ending of my video there. Whoa, wait, what's... Yeah. Sorry, I've said what I have to say. So if you like my video, please hit the like button. You like my channel, subscribe. Turn on notifications. Questions, comments, feedback, it's what the comment section is for. Please put them in there. But most importantly, no matter what else you do today, make sure that today you listen to at least one really good audiobook. And I highly recommend The Ritualist by Dakota Krout. Thank you.